Part 40. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 391. As soon as he heard that there was another way, Yan Yan asked his senior sister to tell him quickly. Tao Ran was serious, looked around, and carefully hit a few restraints to go out. In the Golden Elixir Secret Land, there are a lot of useful things that can be submitted to sect quests. I will get you some more spiritual herbs or animal inner elixirs with high scores. If you can submit the quest, go and submit it. If not, you can keep it and exchange it with fellow Taoists, exchange it and sell it at the market, or use it yourself. What do you think? Yan Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. What a great idea. Senior sister has extraordinary abilities, and her cultivation is far from the beginning of Jindan. As long as she is willing, she will be able to get herself a lot of good things. Maybe she could just make a secret trip and get her 5,000 sect points. It's a bargain, right? She doesn't have to spend anything, someone will help her complete all the sect tasks. Starting tomorrow, she won't have to work hard to clear monsters, and she won't have to be trained by her master. I really didn't expect that he Yungzi had such a good brain and was so easy to deceive. But Tao Ran took a breath. As soon as my Golden Thunder aura comes out, the ordinary ferocious beasts will be afraid of me, and they will definitely avoid me. This was the case when I formed the elixir. If you want to reap the maximum benefits, you must first let those ferocious beasts let your guard down on me. Makes sense. So, Yan Yan, who was devoted to his senior brother and hadn't left the sect much since joining, was completely taken away by Tao Ran. So, only by working together can we achieve twice the result with half the effort. How to cooperate? Get me some of your pure wood spirit energy. It's best to have the original energy full of vitality. Just as Yan Yan was about to refuse, Tao Ran raised his hand to stop her. You think about it, the source of the creatures in the secret land is wood spiritual energy. This is the basis of their growth. I am thunder spiritual energy, and they are afraid. They hide wherever I go. Just imagine how difficult it would be for me to chase them. How difficult it is for me to find them. But you have wood spirit energy, and they all love it. If I use your wood spirit energy as a cover and suppress the Golden Thunder aura, then not only will they not run away, but they may even throw themselves into a trap and take the initiative to get close to me. By then, we will not only be simple and efficient, but we will also gain a lot. Yes or no? Tao Ran kept looking at Yan Yan's expression, and when he saw her brows unfurling and a smile slowly appearing on her face, he knew that the fool had taken the bait. In addition, junior brother will be imprisoned for 2 years. In these 2 years, he has lost so many opportunities. If we, junior sisters, can help him earn some spiritual objects and spiritual stones, we can help him more in the future, right? Hearing this, Yan Yan's head was nodding like garlic. Senior sister has thought carefully, Yan Yan thought to himself. When the senior brother came out, the gap between him and the senior sister would be even greater. It will be even more impossible for the two of them. When the time comes when you work hard and give everything to your senior brother, he will definitely be greatly moved. Who else could he choose besides himself? Besides, if the spiritual grass and beast elixir I obtained in the secret place were wrapped in your spiritual energy, the secret would not be exposed when you submit it to the section. What do you think? Senior sister is wise, I will listen to senior sister. Then it's settled. When you go back, get me some wood spirit energy. I'll enter the secret place early the day after tomorrow. Yan Yan came up and hugged Tao Ran, and even rubbed her head, as if she was affectionate. Senior sister is the best. Each of us will get half of what we earn from senior sister. From now on, I will listen to senior sister. When senior sister comes out, I will hold a banquet for senior sister. Tao Ran resisted the urge to break her neck and drove her out on the pretext of needing to rest. The next day, Yan Yan sent a spiritual ball. The energy of the wood spirit rushed towards his face. Taoran felt refreshed. This guy is not afraid of sacrifices just to be lazy. It's a pity that she has such a pure spiritual root. If she didn't have a crooked character, she would definitely be a genius with great future. Senior sister, I extracted the purest wood spirit energy, and it all depends on you. Don't worry, I won't waste it. If I have enough, I will return it to you when I come out. Thank you, senior sister. In this way, after taking a rest, Taoran took the token and entered the secret place. Since there had been no monks in the sect making elixirs recently, Taoran knew that she was the only monk in the secret place this time, so even if she made it casually, she wouldn't be afraid of being peeped. This secret place was created by the ancestor of King Yun sect tens of thousands of years ago before his ascension. After it became more difficult to ascend to immortality, all the masters worked hard to cultivate the secret place before their death, leaving many opportunities here for future disciples who are destined to do so. Before entering the secret place, Taoran went to the library pavilion and chatted with the gatekeeper there for a while. He learned that none of the ancestors of the sect had owned or had any contract with the wood spirit. So, Yan Yan's wood spirit was born and raised in the secret realm. Taoran didn't believe it. This secret place is the sect's nurturing and reward for its disciples. It cannot be that powerful. Where did the wood spirit come from? No matter what, this secret realm will be open to her for 20 days. For her who only came here to cut off someone's chance, she must find the wood spirit in 20 days. Originally, she was not very sure, but now, she holds Yan Yan's spiritual ball around her waist, she must succeed no matter what. After entering the secret place, she was teleported to the grassland. This luck is not good. Yun 11 has been to this secret realm before, so she has a map in her memory. Before coming, Taoran had already done some analysis. The secret land was surrounded by grasslands to the north, a canyon to the west, a crescent lake in the middle, and a mountainous mountain range and a 1,000-year-old forest to the east and south respectively. Judging from the probability, if the wood spirit exists, it is more likely to be in the east and south where the wood spirit energy is abundant. So now she falls to the north, geographically speaking, a little further. Rubbing the ice muscles on her face, Taoran turned herself into Yan Yan. After releasing a little bit of wood spirit energy, she hoped to meet the wood spirit soon. In the secret place, the spiritual energy is very abundant. She felt that if the task was completed early, practicing here might have good results. In order to find the wood spirit, Taoran decided to travel from north to east, and then from east to south. She collected spiritual fruits and herbs while walking to complete the sect's mission. 2 days later, she unknowingly arrived in the middle of the grassland. She couldn't help but sigh, and she didn't know whether it was because Yun 11 had already entered the secret realm before, or whether it was because she, Taoran, was not lucky enough and had not encountered any good opportunities. The highest score in the section What kind of feathers do the monks like? The spiritual bird that can strengthen the aircraft, double the overlord earthworms produced in the soil, the jade elixir grass needed for alchemy and weapon refining, the 5 elements flower, the magic vine, she connected them all. No shadow was seen. Absolutely amazing. However, she has always believed that hard work can make up for weakness. If she couldn't find anything good, she would work hard to absorb the spiritual energy. Even while walking, she would not forget to slowly circulate the golden elixir and swallow the spiritual energy in big mouthfuls. Along the way, she encountered many ferocious beasts. After killing the 2 ferocious beasts required by the sect's mission and obtaining the inner elixir, she lost interest. What a waste of time. Seeing that she had reached the middle of the grassland, she sat down cross-legged, and then released part of Yan Yan's original wood spiritual energy. She slowly expanded her consciousness. If there are wood spirits in the grassland, she will definitely feel it. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 392. 10 feet, 100 feet, Taoran's consciousness did not feel the wood spirit, but he was suddenly attracted by the movement in the distance. When her consciousness found 500 feet away, she saw two beasts fighting fiercely. The scene was extremely intense with flying sand and rocks, collision of wind and fire, and after images. Taoran felt that the opportunity might have come. This momentum is extraordinary, which shows that fighting ferocious beasts is unusual. The snipe and the clam are fighting, and I might be able to take advantage. She restrained almost all the aura on her body, leaving only a little bit of wood spirit aura that was similar to the surrounding environment, and then she hunched over and slowly approached in the grass that was half a person tall. She saw clearly. The ones who fought fiercely were the most ferocious Huo Dunkai and Hunyuan lion in this grassland. Normally, these two ferocious beasts each have their own living range, and it is impossible for them to fight each other. But now, both sides are refusing to give in to each other, and there is a strong tendency to fight to the death. She understood immediately. They were attracted by the pure wood spiritual energy they released, and each rushed towards her from two directions. After that, they met in a narrow road, and no one wanted to take advantage of the other, so they started fighting. If you look closely, you will see that the two giant beasts on this fight are both at the 6th level. The 6th level inner elixir is a great tonic. With her current strength, it may not be possible to take down the 6th level monster. Not to mention too. Taoran was happy in his heart, waiting for both sides to be injured before going up to deliver the final blow. But as soon as her thoughts moved, her heart slowly began to sink. The 6th level, which is equivalent to the late stage of the golden elixir of a human monk, has the ability to think independently like a human being. And this world was created for Jindan monks, so the highest level is the 6th level. So now it's time to fight. Is it King Qi and King Lion? Does she really want the two most powerful kings on this grassland to disappear? If a normal monk entered the secret realm as soon as he formed the elixir, it would be absolutely impossible to cause harm to the 6th level beast. If I take advantage of this, will it cause any harm to the secret realm? At this moment, King Qi flew towards him and King Lion rolled away. She saw a round white object tightly clasped under the flying Qi King's claws. Was it an egg? And when the Lion King instantly rolled sideways, his upward-facing abdomen was obviously larger. Was this pregnant? This. Tao Ranjiang tightened his grip on the hilt of the sword, and his hand, which was ready to strike at any time, suddenly relaxed. Are you sure this is an opportunity and not a problem? The egg seemed to have cracked, and the Lion King was also injured. Cannot watch anymore. Tao Ran gritted his teeth and finally showed up and rushed out to join the fierce fight. But she was not going to fish in troubled waters, but to stop the fight. What can be done? You should clean up the sins you have done yourself. It was obvious, because the pure and powerful wood spirit energy he suddenly released attracted the Lion King who wanted to nourish the fetus and the Qi King who needed nourishment after the baby hatched out of its shell. To put it bluntly, he caused this vicious fight. If this continues, neither the two beast kings nor their children will survive. It is difficult for monsters to grow and cultivate. It is not easy to cultivate to the 6th level. It is even more difficult and dangerous to successfully give birth to the next generation. She didn't need to think about this, she had to stop it. Even if you get nothing, even if you have to pay a lot. Not because of conscience, mainly because of sense of responsibility. The two beast kings represent the strongest strength of the grassland. When the two kings fall, the balance of the grassland is broken and there will be chaos. She couldn't calculate the consequences of the two beast herds fighting each other. But she knew that the successive fallen heads and elders of the Qingyun sect had devoted a lot to this secret place. The opportunities here are reserved for generations of rising stars. In principle, Each monk can only enter once, which shows that it is to maintain the longevity of this secret place. Her mission is to guard King Yun. How can she take the lead in destroying it? Even though she is very greedy for this monster inner elixir. Tao Ran sighed, she couldn't do it. Forget it this time, wait until next time, wait for that secret realm 3 years later, she will definitely not be polite. Tao Ran swung his long sword, which was forged from thunderstone and nurtured in sky thunder all year round. As soon as the sword light full of thunder power came out, a gap appeared between the two beasts that he subconsciously avoided. Well, Tao Ran split it open with all his strength. There is no treasure here, so stop now. The two beasts obviously didn't believe her and believed that this sudden human being was here for their beast elixir and child. This time, they attacked the outsider together. Tao Ran was having a hard time. She also began to wonder that there were few humans in this secret realm. Although the beast kings were wise, could they learn human language? She dodged and struck the Lion King horizontally. Wait a minute. Then she moved her feet quickly and started a close fight with the Chi King. Seeing that nothing was wrong with him, the Lion King stopped and watched, using spiritual energy to soothe the wounds and abdominal pain. When King Chi saw the humans intervening to help the opponent, he became furious and launched a series of fire spell attacks, which caused a piece of Tao Ran's clothes to be missing. While carefully avoiding King Chi's attack, Tao Ran opened a protective talisman that his sect had rewarded in his early years, which could block 3 attacks from the nascent soul. He rolled on the spot and launched several feints at King Chi. King Chi flew up to avoid it. Seeing the opportunity to condescend, King Chi immediately launched a big move towards Tao Ran. Tao Ran pretended to be unable to fight back, but in reality he quietly pulled out a ball of pure energy from the spiritual ball. While surviving the attack from King Chi, he knocked the spiritual energy away from the cracked egg. There was a burst of life under his claws, and King Chi realized that the person who came had no ill intentions. And the child in his egg was greedily absorbing the pure energy. Just as King Chi gave up, the Lion King over there was attracted by the spiritual energy and flew directly over. Tao Ran, who had just received a blow from King Chi and was not injured but was sent flying 30 feet away, had not yet gotten up when the Lion King arrived. Stop! Tao Ran's bottle of nourishing medicine flew out, and Lion King smashed it to pieces with his paw. Only when he smelled the fragrance of the medicine did he realize that it was not poisonous. However, the pill had been broken into pieces and scattered in the wind. Tao Ran had no choice but to dig through his storage bag, feeling so distressed that he gave away a bottle of high-grade Yuan Yang elixir that the headmaster had rewarded a few days ago. Only then did the two kings realize that this person was not here to steal their children or their inner elixir, but had good intentions. Since you care about the child, why don't you stop quickly and help the child regain his strength? The two kings probably understood this time. They squatted down on the side of the ravine one after another. King Chi put a protective shield on the egg, gathered the spiritual energy to prevent it from dissipating, and helped the child absorb it. The Lion King swallowed the elixir and quickly used the inner elixir to heal his abdomen. After receiving the longing and pitiful looks from the two kings, Tao Ran could only grit his teeth and suck the pure life from the aura ball, split it in two, and gave one ball to each side. Visible to the naked eye, the cracks in the eggshell are disappearing, and the lion's wounds are gradually healing. Tao Ran felt distressed. The wood spirit energy he had tricked from Yan Yan was only half left in the blink of an eye. Can she still find the wood spirit? At the same time, she had another question. If there is a wood spirit in this secret realm, it will naturally release a large amount of vitality. How could the sixth order king beast in the same world not know about it? Was Yan Yan lying in the plot? Isn't the wood spirit obtained from the secret realm? Or is it because the grassland is far away from the wood spirit? Isn't it? But at least it can be proven that the wood spirit is not in the grassland, right? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 393. Tao Ran rushed to both sides of the Beast Kings and cupped their fists. Everyone, it's all my fault. Please take good care of your children and don't be so impulsive in the future. She helped the King of Qi put a protective cover on the egg, and gave the Lion King a bottle of wound medicine. Since everyone is in peace, let's just let it go. She quickly went back to her home so that she could continue on her way. She rose in the air, and when she looked carefully, she realized that in the distance, the two beast tribes were also rushing towards each other, and they would arrive in 100 breaths at most. It was almost impossible for this grassland to escape a bloodbath, which makes me shudder just thinking about it. You two should please go back. Take your troops with you. She would not dare to release the remaining wood spirit energy like this again. Why? What does it mean to lose your wife and lose your troops at the same time? That's it now. Look, nearly half of the wood spiritual energy is missing, 3 bottles of elixir and wound medicine are missing, and the amulet has been used once, which also wastes a lot of time. But what did she get? Nothing. Nothing. She couldn't help but let out a long sigh. The two Beast Kings knew that the spiritual energy did not come from the treasure, but from this monk with a strong aura. At this moment, they stopped thinking. One flapped his wings and the other raised his head to the sky and roared, each signaling to his followers that they did not need to come any further. Then, King Qi flapped his wings and had a flash of inspiration. A drop of crimson blood flew towards Tao Ran. It was actually a drop of the Qi beast's blood. King Qi roared in the air, and Tao Ran understood its gratitude for the child's salvation. He quickly filled the jade box with blood and thanked him with fists in his hands. Kylin is a mutation of the mythical beast Kylin. Although the bloodline of the mythical beast has become thin, the foundation of the mythical beast is still there. If this spiritual blood is refined well, it can allow the monks to make further progress and have a certain chance of obtaining bloodline magical powers. But spiritual beasts like Qi beast are too proud and will not surrender to others easily. Even if they die, few monks can get their heart's content. So what I got today is something that can only be met by chance. The Qi beast flapped its wings and left. The Lion King also walked over, and then leaned down in front of Tao Ran. Tao Ran could actually receive the Lion King's intention in her mind, and it was willing to take her for a ride. If there is a bargain, take advantage of it. Anyway, since the wood spirit is not in the grassland, there is no need for her to stay. So Tao Ran pointed to the east. The Lion King responded with a low roar. What a fantastic world of cultivation, and she actually sat on the back of a giant beast that was taller than an elephant in the real world. When the Lion King catches the long hair on the back of his neck and rides on the grassland, only those who have experienced it will know how wanton happiness it is. Tao Ran took a deep breath while enjoying the beautiful scenery, which saved her a lot of trouble. Soon, she finally realized the Lion King's intentions. She couldn't help but smile up at the sky. In order to thank her, the Lion King went on a journey that was full of rewards. For example, in a patch of grass as tall as one person, the Lion King stopped, and she saw that under those thick roots, there were all Qingling grasses full of spiritual energy. She picked more than 50 mature ones, leaving a large one that was still growing vigorously. Under a huge boulder, there are 7-star centipedes used for refining weapons and medicine. She caught 3. In a swamp somewhere, there were a large number of 1,000-year-old moonstones. She just picked a few by the edges of her eyes. Probably because he saw that Tao Ran was not greedy at all and only took a small amount of everything no matter how much she had, the Lion King recognized her more and more. Along the way, she took her through places full of spiritual grasses, flowers, and insects. She even caught several thousand machine bees, which are the rarest ones in the secret place and can be used to refine formation discs. Tao Ran finally thanked God that the opportunity had come. She is not greedy, mainly because of the regeneration of resources, sustainable development, and to protect Yun 11's wishes. But God is wise, and he compensates her even more. Therefore, this person's heart is better to be kind. As the little things accumulated, more and more categories were obtained, and the empty jade box Tao Ran carried with him was also exhausted. That's enough, thank you, Tao Ran patted the Lion King. The Lion King was very fast. Although he had many stops and starts along the way, he took Tao Ran to the junction of the grassland and the mountains on the evening of the second day. That's not my territory, so I can only send you here. The Lion King couldn't speak human language, but when the message came through, Tao Ran could roughly understand it. Thank you for your hard work. It was not easy for me to walk thousands of miles while still pregnant. Tao Ran thought for a while, then found 2 drops of spiritual milk from the storage ring, and put them in a small jade bottle for the Lion King. I heard that when monsters are born, 1 in 4 will die. Although she wants to be a good person and do her best, there is really not much she can do to help. These 2 drops of 1,000-year-old spiritual milk are what I got by chance. They can instantly replenish spiritual energy. I give them to you now. If you have difficulty in giving birth, they may help. Even if not, they will help you recover after delivery. Tao Ran was so generous, and the wise Lion King also knew how to reciprocate the favor. Before leaving, he gave her some demon bone pills and other items from other beasts that could be used to make medicine. Tao Ran came to the mountainous area with great harvest. As far as the Lion King knew, the situation in this area was similar to that of the grassland. There were beast kings who lived in separate areas. He also said that the most chaotic spiritual energy in the entire secret realm was the dense forest in the southeast corner. In this case, Tao Ran planned to skip the eastern mountain range and head directly to the southeasternmost point. In the next 2 days, in order to seize the time, she flew with her sword. Luck is coming, and nothing can stop it. Whenever she stops to take a breath in the mountainous area, she can find 2 large and powerful blood mushrooms. Passing through the stream, you can also catch several 4th-level spiritual fish. If you can't finish it, bake it dry and take it away. There were so many treasures that she had to find an open space to stop and pack her storage bags and storage rings, and finally took out a few empty storage jade boxes. On the 8th day after entering the secret place, she finally approached the deepest part of the jungle, that is, the southeasternmost part where the spiritual energy was the most mottled and strange, deep, and opaque, and quite strange. When Yun 11 entered the secret place many years ago, he was attracted by the thunderstorm near the central lake. He practiced there for a long time, so he had never been here at all. Tao Ran didn't understand why Yan Yan, who was so afraid of trouble, would come so far away to look for opportunities. Tao Ran released some wood spirit energy again, and then found that he had indeed sensed something. She could clearly feel what was waiting for her in the southeast corner. Or to be more precise, the aura ball around her waist was somewhat attracted. It should be here. Tao Ran meditated outside and drank a large pot of spiritual wine to recharge his energy before walking deeper into the forest. Naturally, she did not forget to release a large amount of wood spirit energy, suppress her cultivation level, and cover herself with Yan Yan's original energy. At the same time, she also swallowed a pill that could expand her consciousness and senses. After walking like this for 2 hours, she vaguely felt a huge attraction, causing the spiritual energy she released to rush in one direction. She followed immediately. The closer she got, the more she could feel the specter of cries for help. There were shouts of sister and sister. Wood spirit. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 394. Wood spirit. That is. Yan Yan, who was baring his teeth and claws that day, was extremely arrogant and did not deceive Yun 11. And as expected, Mu Ling chose Yan Yan again. Whether it was fate, coincidence, or some kind of human factor, in short, she found Tao Ran. Not only was there a huge and strong woody smell in front of her, but that smell was still familiar to her. Yun 11 hated it so much that she could never forget it and would never admit her mistake. Yun 11 has been entangled and tortured by it for 50 years. Huge hatred suddenly arose, and Tao Ran stopped in her tracks. She waited until she suppressed all her emotions and calmed down before moving forward step by step to find who. She wrapped Yan Yan's wood spirit energy and sent out a voice. Sister, help me. Who are you? I am the essence of heaven and earth, the wood spirit that carries the vitality of all things. I am restrained, sister, please save me. Good. She will definitely take care of this evil thing, even if it was born and raised, the essence of all things. Following the breath, the spiritual energy in this area is particularly strong. I don't know if it's the wood spirit that invigorates the spiritual energy in this area, or whether these giant trees that cover the sky and the sun contain the wood spirit. Sure enough, the wood spirit used the spiritual energy released to show her the way. She came to a place full of strange flowers and rocks. The aura here is so dense that it's almost dripping. Whenever a monk comes, he will definitely think that he has entered a treasure land because of this environment. If a wood spirit root cultivator comes and is seduced by the spiritual energy here, he will definitely be willing to fight for the wood spirit. Sister, I'm trapped in the cave ahead. Help me, save me. Mu Ling's voice was shrill, sounding like a pitiful child. How should I save you? Be careful when you enter the cave. There is a 6th order python at the entrance of the cave. If you kill it, you can see rocks in the python's habitat. If you move the rocks away, you will see a flower. Pull out the flower. Can save me. Tao Ran had already sneered, but she still asked one more question. 6th order giant python, she showed some hesitation. I'm not lying to you. You must have heard that the more high-level babies are born, there will be powerful plants or monsters around them, right? When I woke up from 10,000 years of sleep, I found a giant monster next to me. Python. Sister, have you seen those precious flowers and plants? As long as you rescue me, I can help you find any spiritual flowers or herbs you want in the world. I am very powerful and have many abilities. I can also release spiritual energy to help you practice. Since you are so powerful, why hasn't anyone come to take you away after all these years? Tao Ran wanted to see how this wood spirit lured Yan Yan into taking the bait. For thousands of years, I have been looking for the right person. Today, I finally arrived. Sister, I sensed you as soon as you entered the forest. Our spiritual roots are so compatible that I really can't hold it anymore. Sister, I've been waiting for you for 1,000 years. We can be friends, we can be partners, we can sign a contract, and I can serve you. Sister, you and I are of the same section. As long as I am here from now on, I will definitely make your cultivation progress faster, surpass your fellow sex, and ascend to immortality as soon as possible. The wood spirit's chattering behavior reminded Tao Ran of Wangpo. Wangpo boasted in order to sell melons. It also reminded Tao Ran of MLM organizations. They dress up their sales pitches to get people hooked. So Mu Ling works so hard, what's the difference between him and them? It clearly has a great purpose. It may not necessarily be premeditated, but it is probably shady. If it were really a wood spirit, how could he not be proud and be such a beggar? If it was really a wood spirit, why would he be so eager to seduce him and so eager to get out? The better the thing is, the less afraid it is of waiting and being chosen. Sister, come and save me. From now on, I will definitely make you the most powerful disciple in our sect. Tao Ran shook his head secretly. With these promises, it goes without saying that Yan Yan will definitely be tempted and agree. But she spoke again. You said that the giant python at the entrance of the cave is at the 6th level, which is equivalent to the late stage of the golden elixir for us humans. But I have just formed the elixir, and there is a huge gap in cultivation between me and the giant python. How can I defeat it? She didn't understand this. How did Yan Yan defeat the giant python and rescue the wood spirit? When you come into the secret place, your masters and elders must have prepared some magic weapons or sword talismans for you, right? Whatever you have, I can teach you how to use it. Moreover, we can cooperate inside and outside and work together. Don't worry, we can definitely defeat that man. It belongs to the giant python. When the time comes, its demonic elixir, bones, blood, skin and flesh will all be yours. Barabara. Muling's calculations were accurate and he estimated that Taoran had at least the Yuanying monk's sword talisman in his hand. In fact, Yan Yan has 2 magic sword talismans given by his master. In addition, she was too lazy to practice, and her master also gave her many magic weapons. If Muling had followed Muling's suggestion and asked Yan Yan to seduce the giant python with fresh flesh and blood, it wouldn't be surprising that Yan Yan would win. There is a big gap between the divine sword talisman and the golden pill. Even if the giant python is only swiped by the sword, the consequences will be disastrous. The harder Muling worked, the more Taoran looked down upon him. I am becoming more and more certain that it is not the wood spirit in the classics. After talking nonsense, Taoran didn't want to be nagging and just agreed with Muling. 10 breaths later, she was already standing in front of the cave pointed by Muling. Sure enough, a giant python thicker than her waist could be seen coiling around the entrance of the cave. The giant python also felt something, raised its head and spat out the letter towards Taoran. Taoran narrowed his eyes and concentrated on trying to communicate with the giant python. To no avail. She flicked her sleeves and several objects flew out. The giant python felt it, but did not move and lowered its head again. Only then did Taoran grab the amulet and throw out the prepared 3rd-level spirit ferret. This thing was caught casually on the grassland. It was already dead, but Taoran rubbed some wood spirit energy into it and added some dissipating spirit energy to disperse it. As soon as the giant python moved, it opened its mouth and its huge teeth and bit the spirit ferret. And Taoran's sword talisman also went out. What she threw away was the nascent soul sword talisman, the sex reward when forming the elixir. She couldn't bear to waste her master's sword talisman here. The giant python was injured by her, and then she fought with the giant python. The giant python has been poisoned by me. It is no match for me. I will rescue you right away. Sister, come on, Muling said happily. In order to capture the wood spirit alive, Taoran did not dare to reveal his true strength and almost used all kinds of attack charms, which made her feel heartbroken. The only sounds in the cave were the sounds of various attacks coming and going. After a bloody battle, the cave was filled with blood. The giant python finally stopped moving. Taoran threw it directly out of the cave. Then she summoned the wood spirit. The wood spirit was very excited. Taoran stepped forward and opened the stone, and saw a flower larger than the palm of his hand. He didn't know how it had grown under the stone slab. Sister, pinch that flower to death and rub it into pieces. All my nutrients will be sucked away by it. Yeah. Taoran, whose heart was agitated, naturally did not intend to follow Muling's words. Instead of crushing the flower, she used the wind and thunder palm to lift the flower all over the sky. The red flower was uprooted and flew into the sky. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 395. It was only visible after the red flowers took off. Not only did the root system develop under the flower, but there was also a giant ginseng growing out of it. At that moment, the spiritual energy was majestic, and Taoran, who had been mentally prepared for it, felt clear. I think that giant ginseng is the wood spirit. Taoran was glad that he was not fooled. What really restrained the wood spirit was not only the giant python at the entrance of the cave, but also the red flower. The roots of the red flower are entangled with the beards of the giant ginseng, making it difficult to distinguish them. Because of this, Mu Ling kept asking her to strangle the red flower and crush it. Oh, I almost fell into Dao and helped the tyrants to do evil. As soon as Taoran's thunder sword came out, a sword flower formed a thunder net and flew towards the wood spirit. The moment the wood spirit was unearthed, and when he felt the wind and thunder palm, he realized that the aura of the monk in front of him was wrong. The wood spirit energy was mixed, and he was clearly in disguise. Thunder. The thunderous aura of the wind and thunder palm is consistent with that of the woman in front of me. Lai Linjin. Mu Ling wanted to cry at that moment. What is Mu afraid of most? Either fire or thunder. But fire can only come from the outside to the inside, but thunder comes from the inside out. So compared to fire, what she fears and hates more is thunder. This thing can directly chop them until they are crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, making them unstable. When the wood spirit saw the thunder net appearing, it could only become cruel. Seeing that the thunder net was about to cover the giant ginseng, Taoran saw that not only did the giant ginseng break off all the beards connected to the red flowers, but also the two long arms that were connected to the red flowers were also neatly broken off. As a result, Taoran's thunder net caught only a red flower and two small sections of spiritual ginseng, while the main body of the wood spirit had disappeared directly after cutting off its arms. Taoran's lips curled up. He had already taken precautions. She threw away Yan Yan's spiritual ball, which had bottomed out, and threw a protective shield on the red flower to prevent the remaining wood spirit energy from dissipating, and then waved her hands. Several flags immediately appeared in the sky. The flag was waved, and the aura of the entire cave immediately changed. Suddenly there was a water-like light flashing in the air, and then it rushed straight to the entrance of the cave. However, there was a flash of gold and red at the cave door, and the spiritual light not only failed to rush out, but was knocked back. The seemingly empty hole had a barrier at some point. There was another flash of inspiration, and a cry of pain filled the air. The voice was none other than the wood spirit. It has abandoned its ginseng form and turned into a spiritual energy mass. Restricted. Not only is it a ban, it is also a thunderous ban. Of course it was Taoran who did it. This cave is unique. It's so huge that it can't be seen to its depths at a glance. In the cave, there are giant trees, lush vegetation, and blooming flowers. Taoran doesn't find it beautiful, but rather disgusted. She thought that Yun 11 had been trapped in a cave like this for 50 years, and that his body and soul were found in a cave like this. It can be seen that wood spirits especially like this kind of place to grow. In line with the purpose of protecting the secret realm, she felt that if she wanted to destroy it, she should stick to this cave and destroy it. Taoran knew that after she failed to disguise Yan Yan, the wood spirit would definitely escape, so she planned to imprison the wood spirit in the cave. Before entering the cave, she observed the terrain around the cave, took out the formation disc, and placed formation flags nearby, ready to be activated at any time. This is a formation plate tailor-made for Yun 11 by Lu Yun himself. It has thunder attributes. It not only carries thunder, but also strengthens thunder. It has been cultivated for many years, but Yun 11 rarely uses it, so the thunder power is sufficient. This time, she wants the wood spirit to look good. Sure enough, Mu Ling refused to give up and planned to try again. It attaches to a trace of pollen in the air, intending to cover up the breath and let the pollen float out of the hole. Ripples flashed at the entrance of the cave, and there was only a slight flash of thunder. The wood spirit felt that he had a great chance, and was ready to accumulate strength and find the right opportunity to break through the restrictions and escape. But it never expected that the giant python that had died outside and was coiled up suddenly raised its head. A ball of spiritual fire spurted out from the mouth of the giant python. The wood spirit was sprayed and screamed again. After the restriction touched the fire, thunder surged again, causing the wood spirit to scream in pain again and again. It had just cut off part of its spiritual body, and now it was struck twice by the force of thunder. When the spiritual fire roasted it, it felt like its hundreds of years of cultivation had been drained away in an instant. Pain. It was angry, annoyed, and even more stunned because it was calculated. That stupid snake actually cheated his death. Then why did the monk think of cooperating with the stupid snake? I am not a wood spirit, little monk, how dare you trick me, the wood spirit shouted, and he no longer dared to go out rashly, so he could only find shelter in the cave. After a few breaths, it suddenly felt frightened, because no matter whether it quietly climbed up the body of a flower, climbed a tree, or went to the roots of vegetation, the female cultivator in front of it could quickly follow its general direction. Why is this? Like, can you see it, smell it, or feel it? The wood spirit became frightened and fled deep into the cave in panic. Taoran sneered. Yun 11 hated it so much. Wherever it went, Yun 11 could quickly catch its scent. I never believed you were a wood spirit. The spiritual beings in the world are not as bad as you. If I am not mistaken, you are either a monster or a demon, just a fake wood spirit pretending to be a wood spirit. Since I am standing here, I want to clean up the door for the teacher. This secret world has only existed for more than 10,000 years. How can it have so much energy? But after Yan Yan took away the so-called wood spirit that day, the world was not affected at all. If it is related to this world, there must be a causal connection. Therefore, its existence is dispensable. And it has been working in collusion with Yan Yan, without any bottom line, not only harming Yun 11, but also Lu Yun and the teacher's section. Taoran didn't believe it, this was something cultivated by the master's secret realm. It and Yan Yan should have similar odors. They are both white-eyed wolves that the master has raised for many years and has not yet mastered. After entering the secret realm, Taoran was more sure of his guess. If there is a wood spirit, it will definitely work hard to benefit the entire secret realm. How can it secretly hide in the corner of the secret realm? Does it even make the habitat modeled with aura? It doesn't look like a spiritual creature, but it seems to be suppressed. It is expected that the wood spirit is not a good thing, so the giant python that suppresses it is naturally not a bad thing. So when Taoran arrived, he communicated with the giant python. Taoran originally just gave it a try, but he didn't expect the giant python to understand and reply. This giant python can speak human language and even agreed to join forces with her. So, she followed the wood spirit's request, killed the giant python, and then saved the wood spirit. She decided that if the wood spirit thing was useful, she would keep it, if it was harmful, she would destroy it. Thinking of this, Taoran glanced at the small half of the wood spirit body connected to the red flower, and then his eyes paused. The red flower is absorbing nutrients from the broken wood spirit and is gradually growing in size. Taoran threw 2 more amulets at it. Hung Hua works so hard to contain the wood spirit, so she is most likely an upright flower. Just protect it and let it grow long. After that, Taoran directly threw a thunder talisman. The entire thunder array was pulled, and it suddenly crackled. Taoran's thunder sword was swung out and stopped in mid-air. The thunder power in the air was continuously directed into the thunder sword. Then she went out with her sword and directly chopped a giant tree that looked unpleasant to her eyes from the crown to the roots. The giant tree was split into 2 and fell to the ground. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 396. The tree fell to the ground with a crash. The exposed roots and cut cross-sections were not only scorched black, but also made a roaring sound of thunder and lightning. Even the entire surrounding small flowers and grass were burnt black. Taoran's voice spread out layer by layer. Wood spirit, if you are obedient, I may spare your life. If you still dare to hide, I will destroy this cave with thunder and destroy your 10,000 years of practice. Since it is wood, it is afraid of thunder. It's a demon, so it can't stand the thunder that cleanses away evil spirits. Fortunately, she had time, thunder, and patience. The wood spirit was frightened. It didn't dare to make a sound, let alone show any trace. It even restrained its wood spirit energy for fear of being discovered. What did the female cultivator do with her sword just now? How could it be that Jin Dan was at the beginning of her cultivation? And this mighty thunder power is not something it dares to fight? This female cultivator clearly came prepared. Even when she threw the giant python out of the cave early, it was probably to protect it from lightning strikes. Hateful. The wood spirit ran to the innermost part of the cave. Snored. This cave is very big. It wants to see how much energy and spiritual power she has, not to waste time here instead of looking for opportunities. After Taoran's threat received no response, series of thunders began to rumble above the entire cave. The thunder force was constricting one area after another, and the wood spirit dodged again and again. At this time, it was attached to a vine leaf on a rock wall in the cave, and then disappeared into a stem on the leaf, finally taking a few breaths. He couldn't believe it, this noisy nun could find it. It doesn't believe that this nun is so crazy. It doesn't believe that this female nun still has inexhaustible spiritual power. It doesn't even believe that this female nun can still have so much thunder power to unleash. However, this wood spirit never expected that the person it was facing was the most valued genius disciple of the sect, and he also had a master who had her best interests at heart. Therefore, she had various lightning-inducing methods in her hands, as well as a thunderstone rich in natural thunder power, a magic weapon that has been tempered by thunder, and a weapon that the master has specially stored for her. It never expected that Taoran came to the secret realm just to deal with it, so he was fully prepared to fight it to the death. At this moment, after Taoran caused the thunder to blow up many flowers, plants, and trees, he simply drew a large number of thunder talismans into the air, and several thunder stones were directly hung up in the air. After using the thunder sword as a trigger, the entire cave array was filled with thunder. The thunder spirit energy suddenly became abundant. Taoran threw a futon out, sat down and started practicing directly. She really couldn't find the wood spirit. It couldn't get out anyway, so even if she used thunder to level the cave, she still had to force it out. Even if you kill it, it will not be a pity. She personally guided Lei Linky and was very obedient. In the invisible air, the thunder spirit energy formed a fine net and swayed out piece by piece. Layer, layer, and layer. When the lightning net first hits the vegetation in the cave, it does little harm. Of course it doesn't hurt when a dull knife cuts flesh. But imagine what if it was an endless series of death by 1,000 cuts? Does it hurt? Can you laugh? Can it still cause little harm? Sand gathers to form a tower, and water accumulates to form a gulf. Taoran's thunder talismans were spread out for free, and even the thunder spirit energy from the outside world was aroused. Thunder spirit energy from the entire dense forest continued to flow in. When she ran out of thunder stones, she replaced them one batch after another. It seemed that she couldn't take out all the storage rings. And she herself is even more tireless. Hundreds of years of spiritual milk and spiritual wine are constantly replenishing spiritual power, with no intention of stopping. Taoran had already made plans to fight to the end. Knowing that wood spirits are afraid of thunder, before entering the secret realm, she bought a large number of thunder stones and thunder talismans in the market, and even bought several 100 kilograms of spiritual wine and spiritual milk that could quickly replenish spiritual power. As the thunder nets are layered one after another, densely packed and twisting in the air, the power of the thunder is also getting stronger and stronger. After a few rounds, ordinary flowers and plants had already been blown into ashes, and most of the spiritual grass and spiritual flowers had lost their vitality. Although some high-level plants could survive for a while, their leaves could hardly be stretched. After a whole night of non-stop thunder net agitation, the originally abundant wood spirit energy in the entire cave was suppressed by the thunder spirit energy. Even the rock walls and the ground beneath his feet were full of electricity. Mu-Ling persisted. But its spirit body has shrunk a lot due to unconscious wear and tear. It's completely dead. That female nun, so crazy. Very scary. Didn't she know that if she continued like this, she would be dead? Doesn't she feel pity? Why is she so vicious, forcing herself to show up in this way? She scattered so many spiritual talismans and spiritual stones, just for this? She actually used such an environment for practice. What kind of madness is this? Even though he is a fairy, he does not care about his own image. Look at her, even with her flying hair and almost blackened cassock, what kind of fairy is she? The female cultivator's voice came again, Wood Spirit, why don't you show up yet? Come out earlier and you will suffer less. If you continue like this, I guarantee that you and everything in this entire cave will turn into spiritual energy and dissipate into the air. I saw her taking out a few more thunderstones and throwing them into the air. I won't shed tears until I see the coffin. It seems I'm being too polite. Outside the cave, the sky thunder caused by the giant python communicating with the thunder beast in the secret realm also arrived nearby. Taoran used a thunderbolt to go out, and a thunderbolt as thick as a radish exploded into the hole. As he watched, the boulders near the entrance of the cave were blown into ashes. After all, Mu-Ling couldn't stand it anymore. It saw that only half of the spirit body it had cultivated for many years was left. If it continued to be consumed like this, it was afraid that it would really die. It finally begged. Sister, please, don't explode again. I have done nothing wrong, why do you treat me like this? All things have spirits, and it is not easy for me to practice hard to this day. Please let me live. These strange flowers and plants, it's all gone, don't you think it's a pity? I am really a wood spirit. Why don't you believe me? Even if you don't like me, you can still send me to the sect, right? Honoring your elders, giving gifts to your classmates, or even selling me is better than killing me like this, right? Taoran finally stopped. Come out. I don't have to kill you. Then can you swear, the monk's oath is not just a lie? There are gods watching and inner demons guarding. I Yungzi swear that I will not kill you. Yungzi doesn't want to kill you, but Taoran doesn't necessarily. Finally, the wood spirit appeared. A ball of green spirit turned into a small bud. Taoran threw a spirit animal bag out. Go in yourself. The bud is obviously unwilling. Is it a spiritual beast? It is not such a despicable existence. I'll give you two choices, either go in by yourself or come into my hands. The bud could only get into the bag. Otherwise, in her hands. There is lightning flashing on her body right now. Taoran took the spirit beast bag and put several thunder attribute restrictions on it. If you stay in it safely, you will suffer less, otherwise, you will not be able to guarantee that you will dissipate in the bag. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 397. Taoran thought that the wood spirit in the spirit beast bag would simply be handed over to the sect and given to the master. Find out the origin first, and then decide how to deal with it. Although it is not a serious thing, it is true that it contains a large amount of pure wood spirit energy. Maybe it's still useful? If it really doesn't work, it would be better to kill it and use it to refine weapons, grow flowers, and make fertilizer than just dissipate. When the wood spirit in the spirit beast bag heard this, he shivered and wanted to ask, "Are you a monk? Aren't you afraid of your inner demons?" Taoran threw it into a separate storage bag and patted a thunderstone on the mouth of the bag to hold it in place. Looking at the cave at this time, it was already scorched black, with almost no green at all. Taoran felt it carefully, and after the thunderous energy was washed away, a slight decaying energy came out. The remaining small pieces of moss on the rock wall are turning black and decaying at a speed visible to the naked eye. Outside the cave, the previously mottled spiritual energy was becoming clear. The mountains, trees, and flowers in the distance have obviously become much greener. The real breath of nature hits your nostrils and makes you feel relaxed and happy. Taoran tightened his storage bag, and what he caught was indeed a monster, and this cave was clearly a devil's cave created by the wood spirit. She remembered the giant python at the entrance of the cave and quickly went out to check it out. The giant python was injured in order to cooperate with her. When throwing the giant python out of the hole, she also threw 2 bottles of wound medicine out. At this time, although the giant python's wound had healed, its vitality was severely damaged. If you don't do it well, you may lose your cultivation level. Taoran rummaged through his pockets. The giant python is a creature of this world. For it, the treasures contained in this world should have better cultivation effects, right? She endured her heartache and placed the 3 solid origin holy fruits that the Lion King had brought her to collect with great difficulty in front of the giant python. You try eating it first to see if it can strengthen the foundation. If it doesn't work, I will think of another way for you. This giant python has been guarding the wood spirit for I don't know how many years. It's a real tribute to hard work. In Taoran's eyes, it is not a monster, but a great contributor to the secret realm of the Master Gate. Are you the fire spirit root? Taoran squatted beside it. Snakes are originally water, and a python with fire attributes must have gone through rare mutations and arduous training before it could suppress the wood spirit. I don't have many fire attribute spiritual treasures on me. She found 2 more fire sesame seeds that she accidentally found during training and took them out. You use it first. If it is beneficial to your practice, I will collect some. The next time brothers and sisters come into the secret realm, ask them to bring it to you. The giant python entrenched itself, nodded, absorbed the blood sesame, and entered a state of cultivation. Taoran returned to the cave. She thought of another great hero, the red flower. That guy is awesome. Having absorbed 1/5 of the wood spirit's spiritual energy, it was originally only the size of a palm, but now has a diameter of half a meter. Seeing that it was still growing, Taoran protected it, and then he quickly sat down. This cave is now filled with thunder spirit energy. They were all obtained in exchange for Yun 11 spirit stones. In the past 2 days, she had spent too much lavishly, and it was inevitable that she would feel distressed. Now, she can't waste it. She will get back as much as she can get back. She immediately started practicing. She didn't notice that the thunder spirit energy in the entire forest was still flowing here. This is what everything is like. After the dense forest was cleansed, it regained a different kind of vitality. The vegetation and the world gave their own feedback, sending all the thunder spirit energy. After Taoran came to this world, he entered a state of selfless cultivation for the first time. The dantian is growing, the muscles and veins are expanding, the spiritual energy is getting richer, and the golden elixir is getting rounder and rounder as it circulates. Taoran feels that even his soul is growing. 3 weeks later, she clearly felt that some kind of restriction in her body was loosened. She mobilized her spiritual power and rushed with all her strength. It was like a gate was pushed open, and her entire practice reached a new level. She knew that she had broken through the final level of Jindan. She didn't dare to stop, so she kept up her efforts and continued to wash her dantian with spiritual energy, traveling through the 7 meridians and 8 meridians. When she opened her eyes with satisfaction, She looked at the time and saw that 7 days had passed. She has reached the late stage of Jindan. It was actually 2 years faster than in the plot, and the cultivation level was quite stable. Taoran wanted to laugh. So, you still have to be kind and diligent, and God will help you more. She touched her hungry belly, took out the spiritual rice cake and started to gnaw on it. There were a lot of delicious food in her storage bag, and she really wanted to set up the stove and eat some hot food, but she had already spent most of her time in the secret realm. Instead of wasting it on eating and drinking, she wanted to seize the time and look for opportunities. Miss Youngzi, can you take care of it a little bit? She had not heard anyone's voice for many days, and when she heard such a sentence, it was like a thunder in her ears, and she was so frightened that she even dropped her spiritual rice cakes to the ground. When she jumped up, the thunder sword was already in her hand, but there was no one there. The red flower on the ground has disappeared, and where the red flower once was, there is a red fruit the size of a hand. The sound just now seemed to come from there. You are, what kind of demon fruit? Her thunder sword pointed at the spirit fruit. The fruit is still there. But there was an afterimage on the wall, which made Taoran open his mouth in shock. Because the shadow is in human form. The shadow seemed to be sizing her up. Ha ha ha. Yoon 11, right? Girl, can you take care of yourself? That voice is a bit aged and old. It also allows me to see you clearly. Taoran put down his sword. She had a hunch that this afterimage was probably the reason why the red flower trapped the wood spirit. He is not afraid of thunder and has no malicious intentions. He should not be a monster. But how did he know his identity? Taoran pulled out the water mirror and was shocked himself. What? No wonder this afterimage made the request twice in succession. Now she has Legens's hairstyle, African skin color, and a cassock as dark as night clothes. From head to toe, she is like a piece of charcoal. She remembered that when she was talking to the giant python just now, the giant python closed its eyes as soon as it opened. It didn't bother to look at her like that. It probably couldn't stand it anymore, right? Why? What about her celebrity status? After casting several spells and changing into a beautiful robe, she was finally white and pure again. Taoran looked at the afterimage on the wall. Dare to ask the old man. Wait a minute, the voice suddenly became serious and cold, blasting over him layer by layer, and the domineering aura almost rushed into Taoran's soul. Who are you? You are not you. Are you Yoon 11 or who are you? Taoran was shocked by him and took several steps back. Only then did she remember that she still had ice muscles on her face at the moment. Don't worry, old man, Taoran quickly pulled off the ice training muscle. I am Yoon 11. No. You're not. After the angry voice of the afterimage, Taoran's head buzzed. Are you seizing the body? You took the body of my King Yun disciple. What is your background? Taoran felt a turmoil in his soul. She quickly grabbed the token made of soul-nurturing wood that Lu Yun gave her, and then she felt a little clearer. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 398. No. You misunderstood. I didn't seize the body. Only then did Taoran realize that the old man's afterimage's words "you are not you" were not referring to her appearance, but to Taoran who had occupied Yoon 11's body. The old man's voice was still blasting in her ears, hitting her soul. Your body and soul are not the same person at all. Who are you? Where did Yoon 11 go? It was not Yoon 11 who could see through her soul at a glance, and her strength was obviously far superior to that of Lu Yun, Nian Bai and other god-transforming monks. Such a person can only be an immortal, right? And the immortal, this continent has not appeared for thousands of years. In addition, the person who can leave an afterimage in the secret realm is probably the ascended ancestor of the King Yun sect who created the secret realm before his ascension. This, is it good or bad luck to be caught by the ancestors from thousands of years ago? As the old man spoke, Taoran felt dizzy. Dizziness, nausea, and weak legs. When she opened her eyes again, she was somewhere in a void. At this moment, the person in front of her was an old man with a fair face. Well, it's still a shadow. If you don't tell me honestly, I will never let you go back. Why don't you tell me your origins and purpose quickly? How could Taoran answer? If she told the old man that she came from another world in the 21st century, would he believe her? Can he understand? Would he feel like he was lying? The crime of seizing a body is too big. If you are not careful, her soul will be handed down here. Taoran could only choose to avoid the important and take the easy. Is this how your Qingyun sect repays me? She decided to strike first. What purpose can I have? You old man, you have lived so long in vain. She was also filled with indignation. If I force He Yungzi's body, how can she still be so compatible with me from magic weapon to soul and body? If I have a purpose and enter the secret realm, instead of looking for opportunities, I will work hard to catch the monster. Why did I rescue you? I worked so hard to preserve every bit of your Qingyun sect, and for whom? The old man floated around her, one after another, with a confused look on his face. He could not sense any demonic energy from this soul. On the contrary, this person was clearly an ordinary mortal, but he had powerful merits. The thick soul and body are not because of this person, but because of the blessing of merit. This man should have done a lot of good things in the mortal world. How can a mortal take possession of his body? It is even more impossible for a person with such merit and virtue to take away a golden elixir monk. It shouldn't be a matter of taking possession of one's body. The old man saw that Taoran had become much gentler and had loosened most of his hold on her soul. Taoran finally stopped feeling headache. I am indeed not He Yungzi. I can even tell you that I come from another world. I am here to save He Yungzi, save Yungzi's master Lu Yun, save the Qingyun sect, prevent the Dao demon war, and maybe even save, it's the monks and creatures of this entire continent. At this time, it is natural to talk about it in a big way. Taoran's eyes were firm and open, facing the old man's eyes that looked deep into his soul. The old man looked at her and hesitated to speak. This girl's soul was actually restricted. It is not a restriction in their world. He believed that the girl meant no harm and was here to help. But just you? A mortal, trying to save us. What? I didn't do well. Taoran is a good actor. From a person's eyes, demeanor, and even posture, she can roughly figure out the other person's psychology. She could see that the old man's hostility towards her was almost gone. Before you found out that I was not He Yungzi, didn't you like me very much? You still called yourself a girl. The old man was speechless. Indeed. He has been paying attention to this girl secretly. This girl satisfied him everywhere. She was open and honest from the beginning, asking the giant python for help, and not forgetting to protect it. She sent it out of the cave, and also gave it medicine. In the end, she clearly had a chance to kill the giant python and take away treasures such as the snake gallbladder pill, but not only did she not have it, but she also used a lot of magical medicines and herbs. Hung Hua absorbed the power of the wood spirit. She could have stopped it and took possession of the severed spirit body of the wood spirit, but instead of doing so, she helped Hung Hua create barriers several times to help Hung Hua. Safe absorption. This girl has great kindness and righteousness, is compassionate, knows how to repay kindness, and is not greedy. She also controlled her thunder power in the cave to the greatest extent, which was her sense of responsibility to the sect. She set up a formation before entering the cave as a precaution. The most important thing is that she did save him. Twice to be exact. When the wood spirit tricked her into pulling out the red flowers, she was smart enough not to be fooled. You know, most of his soul power was on that red flower at that time. If this girl did as she was told and pulled out the red flowers, then he would be gone. Because of her generosity, he finally walked out of the cave again after using the power of the wood spirit to strengthen his soul. For many years, all his energy has been in containing the demon spirit. He doesn't even know what year it is today. When he escaped from the confinement with a grateful heart, he saw that she was concentrating on her practice, so she was still a diligent and motivated girl. He communicated with this world at that time, and every moment after the girl entered the secret realm, everything happened in front of his eyes. When he saw her entering the secret place, the headmaster Nian Bai personally sent her in and called her Yun 11. She must be a good girl if the head of the family can send her to her in person. He saw her calm down the storm on the grassland, avoid a fight, and save the two princes and heirs. When facing the secret realm, she did not plunder massively, but only took away a small part. She treats the secret realm with a protective attitude. As same as him. Adding up all the above, how could he not like such a girl? Don't appreciate it? Not getting to the bottom of it? At this moment, the old man was worried about another thing. Rescue. Did you just say you were here to save? Yes. Yun 11 asked me to come. So, something happened to the sect, right? Tell me, why did you come? What happened to the sect? Before that, this old man, can you tell me your identity? The old man snorted. I am the creator of this golden elixir secret realm, the first ascended immortal of King Yun sect, Chang Feng. The old man thought of something again, and added, the remaining soul left behind. Tao Ran guessed it? Sure enough it was him. When I ascended, I couldn't worry about the secret realm I had just created, and I was afraid that the old guys who took over would do whatever they wanted, so I left a trace of my soul behind. In this way, I could not only guard this secret realm, but also see the future disciples of my King Yun section day. Until one day, he discovered that there was something wrong with the secret realm. After confirming his identity, Tao Ran stopped hiding and directly told the old man Yun 11's subsequent experiences. Chang Feng was so angry that 2 strands of his gray beard flew up. Tao Ran looked straight at it. Isn't he a remnant soul? Can the remnant soul still be so vivid? Can the beard still fly? What are you looking at? The old man was stared at and stared back at Tao Ran. When you see your ancestor, don't you know how to kneel down and worship? You don't know how to respect your master, the old man murmured. No wonder King Yun sect will produce so many traitors in the future. If those old guys hadn't died, or if their cultivation levels were far beyond the golden elixir, he would have had to call them one by one and teach them a lesson. Sudden update. Thank you all for your monthly votes. Thank you to TNU67, Ziu, Runda, Wei Fugui, Glorious Years and other babies for your rewards. I love you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 399. Tao Ran looked at the old man and smiled in his heart. Such a loud and outspoken old guy probably doesn't have a bad mind, and most of them are the kind of people who mean what they say. Since he said this, he accepted himself from the bottom of his heart. Disciple Tao Ran, I have met my ancestor. Tao Ran immediately bowed politely. Get up, Chang Feng graciously accepted Tao Ran's 3 kowtows. Master Patriarch, Tao Ran grinned, stretched out his palm, and brought it to Chang Feng. What? Do you want to be beaten? When we meet for the first time, according to the custom in the world of immortality, should we give a greeting gift? Such a good opportunity came to her door. If she didn't get something, she might regret it to death. The old man snorted, are you a debt collector? Let's see how you behave, we'll talk about it later. This junior saved him, so he naturally wanted to give him a chance. He couldn't forget this. Douran, right? Yes. What a terrible name. Her name was given by her mother. Her mother said, don't force anything, it will be natural. Even if you can only live 24 years, you must be happy. People who are cultivators of immortality, why should we follow nature? We should contend with heaven, earth, and fate. Let's change the name, let's call it. Your name is Tao Zheng. Call me otherwise. The old man's eyes deepened. Don't you want to fight? How to free yourself from the constraints in your soul? Tao or not? Otherwise. Well, that's it. As long as you are happy, the old man was a little cute. What are Taoran and a remnant soul fighting over? Just do it reluctantly and let him be happy. Probably the old man is in a better mood, and the environment in the void has also improved. At the foot of the mountain, a gurgling stream flows. Bamboo forest wooden house with 2 stone tables. Although it is illusion, it is real. Why is your body and soul being restrained? The old man motioned for Taoran to sit down and replied. Did you see it? Taoran was stunned. Can you save me? I can see it, but I can't save you. The old man stroked his long beard. Your restraint is a curse cast by your enemy with his heart's blood, right? I see that your soul is being pulled by a trace of blood. If I forcefully save you, your soul and body will be affected. I'm afraid the gain is not worth the loss. Taoran was silent for a few seconds. Can you see what kind of restrictions are restraining me? How do you say this? How many other ways are there? The old man looked deeply again. After a few breaths, he nodded. There is only one prohibition. It can't be wrong. Taoran sneered. Elizabeth said that she and her ancestors were under a blood curse. If true, there must be some kind of restraint in the mysterious soul. Later, Elizabeth used her blood to forcibly bind their relationship, allowing herself to be used by them. So from this perspective, her soul should have at least 2 kinds of restrictions. One comes from the ancestors, and the other is because of Elizabeth. But now the old man Changfeng said that there is only one kind of restriction, so, did the old man make a mistake? Not really. He was an immortal after all, and his soul was right in front of him, so there was no reason why he couldn't see through it. So is it possible, the 2 kinds of prohibitions are of the same kind, and the person who applies them is the same? It was all Elizabeth's doing. This thought made her shudder. So, her mother, grandmother, and more than a dozen generations above all died young because of Elizabeth. Was the so-called blood curse cast by Elizabeth? If it is true, how can I untie myself? Is there no way at all? How could I be Elizabeth's opponent? She just moved her fingers, and she was almost strangled to death last time. The old man felt Taoran's frustration. If you want to undo the curse, it's best to cut off the roots and untie the shackles. Just like, you dealt with the wood spirit a few days ago. It was entangled with the red flower. The fact is that their fates are entangled. Misfortunes depend on each other. You did a good job. You didn't pinch the red flower to keep the wood spirit intact, but showed your strength so that it had to cut off part of itself in order to protect itself, which freed the red flower. So, you have to fight? You have to strengthen yourself. One day, you will be strong enough to resist. The old man stretched out his hand and touched her head. The blood curse is placed on your soul, so you have to strengthen your soul. As long as your soul is strong enough, so big that that person can't restrain you or contain you, it's best to make that person afraid of you and have to let you go. Those ties will naturally be broken off. The winner is the king. At that time, you have the final say who will restrain whom. Can it? If you don't try, how do you know it won't work? People live to break through various restrictions and achieve great freedom. Just like the current passage of ascension in the mainland is blocked, but have you ever seen anyone stop and feel sorry for themselves? You and I are destined. The old man laughed. This girl was able to meet him within a few days of her arrival in this world. What is this if not fate? I will teach you the art of nourishing the soul later. Remember to practice more, it will be of great benefit to you. Tao Ran stood up and bowed respectfully to Chang Feng again. She couldn't help but look around at the void again. The old man just laughed. Don't worry. In my world, at least in this secret realm, no matter how powerful that person is or how strong the restraint on you is, they will never be able to spy on any of your actions here, including our conversations. These words greatly relieved Tao Ran's worries. It seems that this world has come to the right place. I just don't know when the man in black will show up. If you are not worried, you can practice in this void starting today. In the future, you will go back to the sect and refine your soul while practicing. The quality of your soul nurturing wood is too average. If you see some good soul nurturing objects in the future, just try to use more, buy more and use more. Tao Ran then began to lament how lucky he was. For her, what kind of opportunity is better than the one she is encountering now? Chang Feng informed that the wood spirit was not a real wood spirit, but its body was also a kind of magic plant named sky-eating vine from ancient times. As the name suggests, if you give it a chance, it will swallow even the sky. It has existed for a long time, and its spiritual power is vast, not much worse than the real wood spirit, but the devil is the devil, and its nature is hard to change. Not only is he greedy and selfish, he also likes to practice evil ways. Moreover, vines all have a characteristic that they like to cling to other people and things. Especially love to live by choosing the Lord. It also has low self-esteem and arrogance. It feels that it is the spirit of plants and trees, and believes that the wood spirit has taken away its status. However, it can't help but use the name of the wood spirit to deceive the world and steal its reputation, just in an attempt to seize opportunities everywhere. He Tao Ran smiled. No wonder it chose Yan Yan, this little junior sister Yun 11 has exactly the same temperament as it. Yan Yan is also selfish and greedy, has no bottom line, and will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. Her character is naturally reflected in her origins. It's no surprise that she's able to attract the demonic vines since they have similar odors. Mo Teng really chose the right person, so the two people in the plot hit it off and worked together in a treacherous manner. The two relied on underhanded tactics to take a shortcut. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 400. Combining the plot given by Tao Ran, Chang Feng had a guess. It is impossible for monsters to be born in the secret realm he created. Therefore, the sky-eating vine could only have been secretly taken into the secret realm. The demon sect should have already started its plan to suppress the Dao sect. As the largest sect of Taoism, Qingyun sect will definitely bear the brunt. Placing chess pieces must be the simplest, most effective, and lowest cost method. For example, the sky-eating vine should also be a chess piece. Wherever the monster is placed in the sect, it is easy to be discovered. But it's different here. Chang Feng's secret realm is suppressed by cultivation, and monks with advanced cultivation levels from the Qingyun sect cannot enter, so there is no chance of discovering any monsters growing secretly. On the contrary, most of the people who are able to make a living here are Xiaoxiu who have little experience and knowledge. Not only do they not know the sky-eating vine, but they are also easily exploited. The golden elixir cultivated by each sect will enter the secret realm, so the sky-eating vine only needs to wait patiently and find a suitable owner. The ideal master that sky-eating vine is looking for should be someone who is both stupid and bad, has no bottom line, and has a high status. Yan Yan is the Mulingan monk who meets all these requirements. and Yan Yan's powerful wood spirit energy should be able to cover up the slightly different wood spirit energy of the sky-eating vine. So it recognized Yan Yan as the master, and while instigating the relationship between senior sisters and brothers, senior sisters and master disciple in Tianji Unpeak, it also encouraged Yan Yan to murder fellow sect members, seduce senior brothers, and bring trouble to the section. In short, the demon gate succeeded in the end. According to Yun 11's memory, after Nian Bai, Lu Yun, and Yun 11 all died, the King Yun sect fell into the hands of Ren Ping, who colluded with the demon sect, and the tens of thousands of years of foundation were destroyed in one fell swoop. Chang Feng was so angry when he thought of this. Chang Feng, that day when I was patrolling the dense forest, I discovered something was wrong and found the location of the sky-eating vine. I divided the remnant soul into two parts, and one part was attached to the fire spirit python. Fire defeated the wood, and it guarded the entrance of the cave. There was nowhere for the monster to escape. The remaining remnant soul of my husband quietly attached itself to the newly blooming red yuen fruit, making it grow thicker and larger, and the flowers were bright and fragrant. The magic vine was indeed attracted. Whether it wanted to absorb the spiritual energy or cling to the red origin flower, I was not going to let it go. As soon as it touched the red yuen flower, I grabbed it with all my strength. It burrowed into the mud, and I wrapped all the roots around it. In this way, with the red yuen flowers entangled in the cave and the fire spirit python guarding outside the cave, the magic vine had nowhere to escape and was imprisoned in the cave. However, as the monster grew over time, it began to rely on the powerful wood spirit energy of the dense forest to gradually grow. After all, I have no real body, and I am increasingly unable to deal with monsters. Because of this, when you arrived, the monster was already able to transmit sounds, but I was getting weaker and weaker. Fortunately, the place where it is imprisoned is the most corner of the entire secret realm. Very few monks will come here to look for opportunities. Tao Ran understood. No wonder, the 6th level beast king in the secret realm couldn't speak, but the giant python could transmit human speech back, and agreed to his proposal without saying a word. No wonder it was so cooperative and willing to cooperate with me even if it was seriously injured. It turned out that the person I was communicating with at that time was Chang Feng, who was already very anxious and couldn't do anything with the magic vine. Yan Yan should have cooperated with the demonic vine that day, killing the fire spirit python, uprooting the red flowers, and finally taking away the demonic vine. With a wave of Chang Feng's sleeve, Tao Ran left the void and returned to the cave. The Qi Yuan fruit had already flown to Tao Ran. You can take this Qi Yuan fruit. Do you know the effectiveness of the Qi Yuan fruit? Yes, it can prolong your life and strengthen your health. It was you who separated the demonic vine from the red Yuanhua. It was you who left the demonic vine's wood spiritual energy for my weak remnant soul to absorb. I then guided the red Yuanhua to absorb and transform all the wooden spiritual qi in the entire cave. In the end, we ended up like this, a top-grade red Yuan fruit. If you eat this fruit, you can live for at least 500 years. Ordinary monks can even go up to the next level if they take it. It should be extremely useful to you. Tao Ran accepted the spiritual fruit. The heavy fruit arrived in his hand, and its aroma was alluring, causing Tao Ran to swallow his saliva. But she quickly picked up the box and packed it up. Ancestor, can this fruit be given to others? You want to give it to Liu Yun? No, my disciple wants to be the head of Nian Bai. Oh, the old man smiled. The leader's ascension to immortality is blocked, and there is not much time left. If we can get another 500 years, the chances of further advancement will be greatly increased. This is the best thing for the section. As for Liu Yun, in Tao Ran's opinion, he was still too tripped up by love. In comparison, Nian Bai, the leader, is more reliable. Since the fruit is given to you, you can decide where to go. Thank you, ancestor. Chang Feng's eyes looked at Tao Ran more kindly. This girl cares more about the sect and the overall situation than a native monk. She actually has no selfish intentions at all. Otherwise, Taoran almost didn't realize that he was calling her. What do you plan to do with the magic vine? Leave it to the head and master. In fact, you can keep it as your own. Didn't you say that this is a monster? This is an ancient vine. It has already become a spirit. If it is destroyed, it will regenerate in a short time. Instead of doing that, it is better to keep it for use. If it were anyone else, I would not make this suggestion. But Yun 11 has Thunder Spirit Root. There is a natural suppression against it. And you have a good character and merits to protect your body, so it cannot take advantage of you. The old man's heart has already turned many corners. He owed Taoran and wanted to give Taoran a chance. Maybe he could try this. Listen to me, just keep this magic vine. Changfeng took Taoran to the thunderstorm area of the central lake in the secret realm. This was where Yun 11 once practiced. The entire lake is subject to thunderstorms all year round. Taoran followed the old man's instructions, marked out an area, and added restrictions. Later, the magic vine was released from the spirit beast bag. Cleansed by thunder, the air was filled with the begging of the magic vines. The thunder here came one after another, making its soul tremble. The magic vine is extremely weak and cannot break out of the restriction. It begged to be scolded, and begged again, and gradually it could no longer even make a sound. At this time, Changfeng gave it a choice: either, it would slowly exhaust its spiritual power in the thunderstorm and die from being tortured by lightning strikes, or, be sealed in Yun 11's natal sword. In less than 100 breaths, the demonic vine made its choice. Who would want to die? No matter how unwilling it is, it can only choose the latter. Taoran followed the ancient techniques taught by Changfeng and put a complicated and restrictive seal on it. As soon as the aura of Yun 11's natal sword changed, it was suppressed by the force of thunder. On the thunder sword, there is a pattern of long vines. Is this, okay? She didn't like having hidden dangers around her. Okay, Changfeng was very satisfied with the speed of her learning. The sealing technique he taught has probably been lost, right? This inheritance can be regarded as an opportunity. The old man touched his beard with a profound look on his face. Girl, you will thank me in the future. Whether you like it or not, this is my meeting gift to you.